welcome. Thank you for joining me today. I'm going to do a reading for so today's October 31st. So for the kind of in between unveiled energies that we're in right now with Halloween and All Souls Day tomorrow and all that. So I missed the eclipse. I missed the lunar eclipse. I was traveling. I was in Colorado with family and just kind of caught up in the whirlwind and the energy of everything. So I just got back to my main house here yesterday, and I'm still landing. I'm still kind of like swirling from these energies. I know we all are. We're still in that eclipse window, so it's usually like 5 days before, 5 days after, where we're really feeling, kind of still feeling it, like kind of hard to get a feel of what's going on, although there are certain themes that I've been observing in myself and in people that I've been talking to and other family members, and in session since I've gotten back. And so anyway, I want to read into the energies of right now. So it's really interesting because we're in Scorpio season, of course, and then the veils are really thin. So it's like, but we're also going through all these really huge changes, and I'm feeling that in myself. Like it kind of started for me around like the 1010 portal, where I started noticing the potentials for it, but like the sort of like compulsive thoughts or like patterns that were really, really deep and hanging around for a really long time, things we've been working on for a really long time, like all of a sudden like a gear slipped, and they just kind of like fell out. Like I'm seeing this in so many people where it's like all of a sudden you're like, holy crap, like this like hamster wheel thing I've been on for a really long time. And usually it's connected to some sort of mission too. It's connected to some sort of like service, some like pattern that we took on and to unravel like within ourselves for in service to our lineage or to the collective or to however far out, probably all of them, right, depending on how much we bit off, right, to unravel here. It's almost like, because this was coming up earlier, where it's like our missions are changing, where for a while we were doing a certain thing, we were doing kind of that behind the scenes, like alchemizing and like, working on these certain things. It's like, it's almost like it was like time's up, where we just like graduated. That's what it feels like, this graduation energy. So it's so exciting. And then at the same time, it's like as we get more, as we awaken more and we clear more, we get more sensitive. And as we get more sensitive, our perception is more fine-tuned. So it's like we're acclimating to that. But then there's also, especially with this time of year, where the amount of light that there is paralleled with the amount of darkness. And at like this point in the game, it's like we feel it, we feel both. So whereas there's all this like kind of opening, we're also feeling that which is collapsing, but we're also feeling that which like kind of doesn't want it to collapse. The energies, I'm always spitting, the energies in the world, in this world of polarity and duality, that, whether it's inside of us or around us or just in the ethers and the astral, that are just kind of trying to keep, just that battle, we could say. But it's really just kind of the nature of how it is here. So like feeling it all and allowing it all to be there. Anyway, that's what I've been that's what I've been feeling. So I'm going to pull an overall energy and see where this reading wants to go, what wants to be communicated today in support of all of us that happen to find this reading, myself included. I'm going to learn from this, and I'm excited about that. Okay, so Chameleon Spirit, act as if. So that's our overall energy. It's a 14 card, so that's a 5. That's change, major change. I often see this card, I think the last time I had it, I was seeing it as like the gears of like a clock for some reason, and that's kind of what I was saying earlier, where it's like all of a sudden like something like slipped, like the gear slipped, and then these patterns falling out. It's like there's something in, maybe act as if is relevant as well, maybe chameleon spirit. But the way this card is coming through for me is just like there's something in the timing where with the eclipses it's always like that, things shift. So it's like, there was a shift, right? It's like musical chairs, something. Let me leave that there and see how it wants to be talked about further through the tarot. Let's see what we get here. All right. What else do we want to say today? Okay, what is this? Oh, okay. So the messenger of earth. So this is, kind of like our dedicated and committed selves. I often read this as mission, spirit mission, what we're working on. Well, wasn't I saying that? Like the things that we took on. Yeah, okay, so this is kind of validating what I was just saying. where there's kind of been a change, 5 being a number of change, a change in our missions where it's like it's just been time, they're like the gears have clicked in a way where it's like we're kind of changing formats a little bit. Let's get some more information. I have a new deck. This isn't it. This is my Light Seers deck, but I'm going to use my new deck. I got it when I was in Colorado, and I'll talk about that in a minute. Okay, so let's see. What else do we want to say about the missions, the change? Okay, Two of Wands. So Two of Wands is kind of that like soul spark, that like knowing in our that the instinct almost of knowing what we want, but it comes from our alignment with our spirit. Like it's not just like we're intuiting something, we're choosing between things and we're intuiting what's the right choice. It's like just this, it's like what excites us, right? What we desire, which comes from the soul. It comes from the soul. It also comes from our missions. It's like how we know what we are and what we're for. Desires come from the soul. And so let's see what else. So this deck, I think it's called the Tarot of the Illuminati or something like that, but it's the most traditional deck I've ever had. It's a lot like the Rider-Waite in the symbolism, the traditional symbolism, but it's like way more embellished and pretty darn sexy. Some of these cards, we'll see if we get any of the ones where it's like, oh, wow. So anyway, I really love it. I really love it. It's a great deck. So I'll show it to you. I'll show you what card we get for this. All right, so what else? We get 2 cards. Okay, so the 8 of Pentacles. See this deck? It's really interesting. And the King of Pentacles. Okay, so the 8 of Pentacles and the King of Pentacles. I'm a little bit distracted by these cards because they're so fascinating to me. That, and they have different transmissions than the other ones, so it's bringing out kind of a whole different story, which I think is interesting. That right as like we're going through this shift into this sort of like whole new thing, I have this new deck which is bringing out different thoughts for me, different transmissions, I should say, rather than thoughts. So let me look at this a minute. They're kind of like Japanesey, and not all of them, but these 2 both are. Just kind of holds a very ancient energy for me. I'm sorry I'm not showing you, but I don't know that I can see it through the camera. So yeah, okay, so King of Pentacles and the 8 of Pentacles. Okay, so anyway, this is kind of like, and this card for me, this came up in a private reading that I just did where I was seeing it, I was reading it kind of like for the first time, but I was seeing it as rather than like, because the 8 of Pentacles is like what we've worked for, what we've been working on, mastering on the physical plane, but I really read this card, or at least I am today, as what we've been working for throughout our lifetimes, and it's like these are like our soul badges where like each lifetime we have a certain set of like skills or something that we mastered, and then in this lifetime right now, it's like we're bringing all of that together into this sort of mastery. The King of Pentacles is kind of like a master of the physical realm. Like he knows how to have everything around him. But again, because this is coming through as like a soul card, and I always read everything on the soul level. Like hardly ever look at anything from just one dimension, one level. Like, oh, the pentacles are the physical. It's like, no, I always want to see more. But still, it's like, this isn't just like somebody that's mastering the physical in the conditioned sense of like, well, I got my job and I got my house and I have everything I need. I am a success. It's like, no, this is somebody that is mastered on the physical realm because of everything that they've accumulated through on a soul level throughout their journey, culminating now. Okay, so what I'm seeing in terms of like, the missions changing, the missions, again, the 5, the change and kind of the gears clicking into something different. That's that soul spark where, we're kind of like knowing what we need to do. It very, very much has to do with everything that we've achieved on a soul level, everything, all the codes that we have access to. What I'm seeing this I was seeing it in a private reading, and I was seeing it in a session that I had today where like a lot of us really have more of ourselves. Like we've been activated, our the codes that we've had that have maybe lain dormant have been activated. And it's not even like, oh, we're like discovering them now, or we're like, oh, cool, I resonate with like, Syrians, Star Nation and stuff like that. It's like we're actually just living them. We're like embodying them, and we're living them just natural because they're integrated into our field. They're integrated into us. We have these pieces back, and because of that, we're the mastery that we're having, that we're about to have, that we're endeavoring to have, that we're it's not endeavoring. It's that we're being like ushered into on the physical realm includes all of this. So it's this kind of multi-dimensional mastery on the physical realm, which is how we're weaving. I don't even know what I'm saying. I guess I'm just channeling right now because I don't even know if I'm making sense, but it's like, it's what we're pulling through. It's what we're pulling through that we now have access to. And because this is very new for human beings to have access to so much of their Akash and so much multidimensionality within themselves, that we're bringing about, a new existence, a new template for what it is to be on the planet and to be living. To be living during these times. I think a lot of you know what I'm talking about, right? And so, it's not just the conditioned set of rules that we've been taught we're allowed to live. It's pulling from a higher access that we now have integrated. So it's creating something completely different. Okay. So I don't know where I am. So, but I'm just going to keep going. I'm just going to keep going and talking and see where we're at. Okay, yes, exactly. 6 of Pentacles. So this is the reward card. This is the reward for hard work. The reward for hard work. The reward for hard work throughout lifetimes. And if we don't think of it as lifetimes, because time is not linear, it's like throughout what we have access to. Okay, everything that we have access to, everything that humanity has worked through, that we're bringing forward. Okay, that we're embodying now, and then it's just cosmic law. It's like if you hold a certain energy, if you hold a certain frequency in your field, you hold a certain a certain frequency, a certain vibration, then you're gonna create from that vibration. You're gonna attract and magnetize in. So that's this. It's like what you put out, what you are is what you get back. Okay, so this really indicating where we're at this time. At this time in these energies, after these eclipses, coming out of these eclipses, kind of figuring out where we're at, kind of shaking it off. This is what we're learning right now in this moment. Fine-tuning our perception too. Okay, it's a time of reward. It's a time of mastery in the physical. It's a time of bringing more, perhaps all of what we are down with us to be expressed and to live and to experience. I feel like we've been talking about this for a while now. These were the potentials, but it's like we're kind of just like on the other side. Like after eclipses, it's like there's no, you can't stay in the old energy. You can't stay there. You can't not go. You have to go. Like the gears have clicked in. The gears have clicked in. And, the patterns that were holding you back are just not even there. And I think that's why I'm kind of having trouble even tracking what I'm saying, because the energy is so fresh. And it's so new, and it's so like on point, and we're so in that moment of transmutation where it's like just as the old is collapsing, it's like the new is birthing, and we it's just like a really really potent energy. So I hope I'm making sense. Let me keep going here. See what else wants to be said about this, about where we're at right now, what is going on. Okay, so 5 of Wands. Okay, so here's the 5 of Wands. It has all the different elements. So all of the different elements together here, trying to figure out how to work in harmony. It's almost like, this kind of reminds me a little bit of this in a way where it's like we have access to all of this. We have access to the water and the fire, and whatever these represent, these are all the different aspects of ourselves that are online, that are here for us, that are here to guide us, that are ready to step in whenever it's needed. Because one of the messages I keep getting, like for myself and for others, is like, just kind of like that thing of like, we really have been pushed through into this new terrain where it's almost like we're like, oh wait, we don't have anything from the past to like lean back on. I think this is what I was trying to say. We don't have anything in the past to lean back on, to be like, oh, this is how I've always done things, and I've always handled things from this like linear way. It's like, it's almost like there's so much that's gone that you're kind of like, wait, where am I? Like, what is going on here? And I feel like the message here is like we have so much available to us that in the moment when the action is called for, we're going to know exactly what to do. Like your Pleiadian self, or your Garthan self, or your mastermind self, or your scribe, or whatever it is going to step forward and lead you, because they're all here hanging in your field. And it's not something that we're conducting through the conditioning of our mind, through the conditioning of what society has told us to live. We're really living through soul, and that surrender and that trust to know that, like, when something is presented to us, it's gonna step forward. Okay, so let's see what else wants to be said about that. I'm gonna pull a goddess card and see what we get, see who we get, see what energy we get off of this. Okay. Flow. Yeah, exactly. Flow. Rhea. Yes. So I've talked for 15 minutes. It's exactly that. That's exactly what I was just saying. I love that when that happens. It's like, again, it's like, just flow with it, because your aspects are going to step forward, they're going to move through you, they're going to flow through you. And you're always going to be where you need to be. You're going to be saying what you need to be saying. You're going to be, if you feel a decision coming up, if you feel like you have to make some changes in your life, you might be like, oh my God, I got to make these changes, and I got to figure out how to make these changes, and when am I going to make these changes, and how am I going to make these changes? Am I ready to make these changes? It's like when it's time to make that change. This is a 4, 3, 7 card. When it's time to make that change, you're going to know, and you're going to flow with it. It's just going to happen through you. It's happening through you. I've never seen this card presented that way, and I love that it came through that way. It's like coming through, rather than, because usually the Five of Wands is like conflict and variance, and like conflict between you and people in your field, and just, but this is like, it's not about conflict. It's just about all the different aspects that we have access to, and how they don't even have to be like working together, because we can have very contradictory parts within ourselves. We can have the warrior that will go to battle, that will go to battle for the light, and will, make some hard decisions and maybe hurt some people, because you got to kind of cut them out or whatever. But they have their place. And then we might also have like the very nurturing mother that has like infinite patience, that will like hold space for for someone eternally, if that's what the soul contract is, or if that's what the soul guiding is. But they really kind of contradict each other. So we can have all these sort of like contradicting parts, but just knowing, it's almost like multiple personalities, right? Knowing which part of you need in that moment, but you don't even really have to know. It just steps forward, and allowing that flow, allowing it to flow through us. So beautiful. Okay, so I think I'm going to go back to my new deck and see what else do we want to say? What else do we want to say right now? I was kind of feeling into like if there was a specific question that I wanted to ask, but I feel like my left brain is just like not even here right now. So the moon. Okay, I love this card in this deck. It's so let me see if I can find the words for how I feel about. It's funny. I guess a lot of the moon cards have a crab. Is that because Cancer, the Cancerian energy? Maybe the moon card is about the Cancerian energy, and of course the wolves and the moon. But there's something about the energy in this particular card that just feels so, it so captures the intuitive realm. And what's interesting is here's the moon, but it's almost like a sun configuration around it, because what this is really saying to me is like, rather than being like a moon card that's like you're in your intuition, or you're in the underworld, you're in the subconscious, and it's really murky and you don't know what's going on. It's like, this to me feels like the deep dive into your sorry, I just got a notification, and yeah, there it went away. It's like a deep dive into your intuitive nature, knowing that it's going to illuminate the way for you. Yeah, knowing that it's going to illuminate the way for you. And again, it's like you have everything that you need in there. You have all the guides. You know how to navigate that terrain. Oh, look, there's a woman, the woman in the moon that is connected to her solar energy. She's connected to her. It's like the masculine and the feminine together. Like the masculine energy within ourselves is holding space for the wisdom of the feminine, our intuition to come through. And he's listening. She's listening higher, and he's listening to hear what she's going to bring back, so that he can take action on it. And this action is so integrated this is the energy of what's available for us right now. We can lean into it and trust it. We can hone in on it, see what the potentials are, identify it, and then lean into it and allow ourselves to flow with it, having that reassurance of like, this is possible, this is safe. Okay, so it's like yeah, it's one motion because these two are together. They're already together. Like he's in the moon card. You know, how gorgeous is that? And I didn't even notice this. This is the first time I'm really kind of like really vibing out this card. It's probably going to happen like, you know, in readings, because that's when I'm really like flowing it, right? But it's like he's there, he's showing up in the moon card. Like the masculine, our masculine energy is with our feminine energy now, because he knows how to listen, he knows how to allow himself to be guided. He's not the rogue masculine anymore that's like, yeah, but you know, I know better, so clearly you don't know what you're talking about and you're just going to cause us harm, and I'm in control here. You know, it's like he's learned how to listen. So it's the same kind of energy as this with the flow, you know, but it's just going into more detail about what does that actually mean. How do we actually do that? We lean in, we go into this other realm, we go into this sort of like altered kind of intuitive space, you know, knowing that that's where the answers are, knowing it doesn't even have to be answers, it can just be like a movement, like, because again, the movement, because the masculine energy, the solar energy here, it's one motion where you receive and you flow. So it's a fast moving energy through. You know, if it was just the moon, it's like you go in and you spend some time there and you get to know it. But again, it's something that flows through you. Okay, so that's really beautiful. All right, let's see. I'm gonna do an angel card. I haven't done a collective reading in a while. It's been a little while. I'm really enjoying doing the private readings. I am gonna open that up through this channel and through Facebook as well, if you're watching it on here. But I have a couple more to catch up on, and then yeah, like once I'm ready to do that, I'll post. I'll post the information in the about box, but I'm not quite ready for yet. But that is coming up, and so I've been digging into that and really enjoying it. It's going really well. So yeah, so it's kind of like shifting gears, you know, for the personal. So I'm a little bit out of practice, but yeah. Okay, so we get surrender here. So yeah, this is more just, you know, more of that energy, just surrendering to that higher light, surrendering to that higher connection that we've worked so hard for, and it's like, how do we plant it down? How do we plant down that access, that higher access that we have, that we've actually surrendered to? You know, we're surrendering to it. So here it is again. It's like our inner masculine energy, our inner solar energy that wants to like take action in the world and has been kind of hijacked and programmed to take action through the false reality and through the false programming. You know, it's like he's really coming into surrendering to that higher, surrendering and allowing that higher to guide his action, you know. Okay, so yeah, and yeah, it's really interesting. I feel like I was going to say something else about that. What was I going to say? What else was I going to say? Surrendering. I guess that was it. Yeah, surrendering and allowing it to flow through you and move you. So we're getting a little bit of a repeat message here. I'm going to pull a couple more cards. We're at 22 minutes, and this might be the wrap up. So once it starts repeating, then I'm like, okay, well, I guess it's time to go then. So, but I am going to pull one closing message and see if it wants to go in a different direction. I feel like this has been pretty clear about, you know, advice and where we're at and what's possible right now. Okay. So, wow, we get the Emperor and the King of Wands. So yeah, here's that empowerment. It's like we're just at this place where we're feeling our power. It's like we know how to align with ourselves. You know, this is also like there's no more self-abandonment. There's no more like ignoring your intuition, ignoring your knowing, ignoring what you need to do, you know, putting others first, putting status first, putting, you know, whatever it is that you think needs to prop up your self-importance or worthiness in life. It's like, no, you know, we're in our power. And what does that mean to be in our power? It means to be with our divinity, with that higher knowing and taking action on that. And this is a card, the King of Wands is this card of unstoppability. It's like, it's, you know, you're gonna, you know, you have this fire in your belly, and you're, you know, it's coming up through you. It's kind of like this, you know, the Two of Wands, where it's like that fire and that passion is moving up through you. You know what you need to do, which is also a similar message again, you know, with this, where it's like it's just arising from within you and you're taking action. And that's what this is. You know, this is an action card. It's fast action. It's instinctual action. It's putting itself out there. So again, similar message, but really emphasizing that, because the Emperor, it's like that's the most powerful. I mean, the way I'm reading it right now, this is the most powerful card in the deck because, it's not a king, it's an Emperor. And I hate to say like, oh, the masculine is more powerful, but it's kind of how the tarot is. It kind of works itself up. So just the symbolism of this, and look, he's kind of like he's sitting in the sun. He has his power, but where is he sourcing his power from? We know in this reading that he's sourcing his power from being in union with his intuition, with his divinity, with the feminine and the spiritual energy within him, and bringing that forward onto the earth. Not only master of the earth realm, but just master in general, master in general of how to work in unison with and be surrendered to the higher energy, because that can be frightening. It can be frightening to surrender because there's an ego death involved, and you feel like you're losing something, you're going to lose everything, you're going to, you're going to lose. And yet, it's like once we start walking in that way and we do have that surrender, we get to like experience ourselves flowing through all these different aspects that, we might not have even known that we have, but we have to give them the stage, and we have to allow them to kind of birth through us. And that takes a letting go. And it also takes a lot of power. It takes real power to know that you're safe in your divinity, you're safe in your connection, you're safe in all of the work that you've done throughout your lifetimes, throughout your soul journey, however you want to think of it, that you have all this access and these codes are just waiting to come through. So this beautiful surrender, but also this kind of last message of like, it's unstoppable. Like this is where we're going. So whether you're at the beginning of that wave or you're catching on a little later because maybe you got some karmic stuff you got to clean up, or whatever it is, it's like we're all being moved forward. It's inevitable. It's a fiery spark. It's like, look at her, she's just like, yes, and so it's like we're all gonna jump on whenever it's time for us to jump on, but it's an inevitability. It's a singularity that as more of us step into this way of living, then the easier it is for others to do, the easier it is for others to catch that wave, to catch that energy, to catch that potential and that possibility and that the higher timeline for themselves of living this way, because we create that template, we create that new template, which again brings us back to this mission and this change that has happened where we're doing this now. This is the potential. This is the potential to really flow and live in this surrendered state with our higher aspects coming through, and that surrender to allow them. It's like when I was a kid, I was really afraid of possession. I was afraid of demons and possession and aliens, and I'm sure I've had experiences with that before because it was terrifying. I was just scared all the time. It was really, really strong for me. So surrender has been hard, when you're interfacing with higher energies or subtle energies. You have both the light and the dark, and that discernment to be like, well, which one do I, who am I talking to, and like what's going on, and maybe I'll just shut it all down because this is freaking terrifying. And but getting to this point in our own alignment, right? When we have that balance of our polarities within, with the light and the dark and the masculine and the feminine, and everybody kind of knows how to work together, then you really can surrender, and that like everything is in service to the light, and that you're in service to the light, and so you don't have to fear your own darkness. You don't have to feel the darkness of others. You can allow it all to flow and to flow through you. So okay, we're at 28 minutes. My gosh, I'm stopping a reading under 30. Thank you so much for joining me today, joining in consciousness and helping to birth these energies by putting our awareness on them, and to having the courage to step into them and to step out of the old paradigm and to step into the flow that's presenting itself, and the truth of what's possible and the safety in that. So thank you for your contribution and all the hard work that you do in kind of like, confronting those places within yourself. But this exciting time right now of activating and allowing and flowing, and again, this shift that has happened, the shift that is happening right now, right now. So anyway, I'll see you next time if I do, and I look forward to seeing where we're at. And I also look forward to doing private readings, so I'll keep you posted on that. Okay, I have this new thing that my dad gave me when I was visiting, where I can turn off this video without leaning up. So, okay, bye. Did it work? Oh shit, it didn't work. Let me try it again.